would like to welcome all of our viewers on this latest episode of Energy TV. Today, in our episode, we have with us Mr. Shailesh Mishra, who is the Asia Pacific Regional Leader for Grid Solution at GE Vernova, which is a very well-known company. And as we go through the interaction today, we will get to know more about the company, more about the operations that Shailesh is specifically into, and what are the new things happening in the company, and what can we look forward to in the coming years. So, a very, very warm welcome to you, Mr. Shailesh. It's great to have you here today.
Arushi, thank you. Thank you to you and ET Energy. And it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm sure people know about GE Vernova. We have been kind of into this business for a long period of years. But it is important that the things which are changing at this point of time because of the energy transition we are into, a lot of new things which are happening. So it will be a great opportunity for me also to talk about these changes which are happening in this space, and hopefully I'll be able to give a bit of insight which people will be interested to know into this energy space.
Right. So let us not keep our viewers waiting too much, and we can just straight away delve into the uh, conversation and the fruitful discussion that we will have today. So let me begin this conversation, Shailesh, first by asking you, what are the technical insights and market trends that you can foresee, and what is your overall perspective on the way the market is performing currently?
Arushi, I think before I go to market, let me just try to give you a bit of a broader perspective that what exactly is happening in the space of energy.
Right.
So we all know that energy is very basic need today, and the overall population of the world and everybody who is willing to get into newer equipments and the lighting and everything. So we are trying to reach to the overall global population to provide the energy. So energy has become a very basic need, just like any other basic need of the living. So that's one thing which is because of which the demands are growing significantly. The second important thing is the transition of the way energy is being generated, because we are looking towards a green planet, and that green planet demands a lot of non lot of green gases which are impacting the environment are required to be reduced. So we need to move the entire energy power generation from the coal based or maybe say gas based sources to more renewable resources. So these are the two main impacts which are at this point of time happening in the space of energy, which is more to do with the generation. Now, what it brings as an impact into the so when we are talking about energy, it you can bifurcate it into three parts, which is generation, transmission, and then subsequently the usage of that. All these three segments are getting significantly impacted because of the these two major changes which are happening: the growth in demand, and secondly the way energy is being generated. And the third important thing which is also happening is the generation X, or whatever we call the new generation, or Gen Z we call it today. Say, just to give you an example, probably in my days, I consider myself a little bit older in age. So I have a fixed pattern of getting up at certain time in the morning and then doing my regular course during the day. But the Gen Z is not like that. I mean, right? And I think if I consider you coming into Gen Z population, coming from Gen Z population, you must be looking at your mobile at midnight or maybe doing some stuff very late in night. So the consumption pattern has significantly changed, right? So these are the three important things which are happening in this energy space, and these bring the newer requirement of technology to handle uh, uh, these part. As I said, that because of these three impact, the way power need to be generated, the way usage is required to be managed, and the growth in demand, what we need to do is that first of all go into the renewable generation. And today the generation which used to happen either by coal or by pure gas is going through changes. We are trying to work. So when we look at GE Vernova, what do we do as a company? We have a clear product portfolio which supports the energy transition. And the energy transition which we are talking about, it's like from non-conventional to, or maybe say from conventional to non-conventional way, or the green way of energy generation. So we have a generation portfolio where we provide the equipments and solutions which support the power generation. And then we have electrification portfolio which provides the transmission of power and to some extent sub transmission. And then of course we don't get into the space of distribution. So in the generation space, the newer things which are happening is that for sure the gas turbines which we use, they are getting mixed with hydrogen as a fuel. We
Right.
have a prototype which is actually working on even converting the entire fuel to hydrogen. So that's one part of it. The second, we have the renewable wind turbine business through which we are providing the onshore and offshore generation, wind generation. And then when we talk about the electrification, there's a whole lot of solutions which are available for bulk power transmission from one point to the other. So there are clusters of wind generation or maybe say gas or hydrogen generation plants. From that there is a super highways which are required to transmit power. So those are solutions which are HVDC. When the green energy or the renewable energy comes into usage in transmission, there's a very basic technical stuff. When there is a gas turbine or when there's a steam turbine, it causes a lot of inertia and it has the inertia into the system. But these renewable, which is solar and wind turbines, they don't have inertia. So you need certain specific equipment to support the power system needs. So that is what we do. And then we also have the battery storage solution because when we try to integrate the renewable, there is a need of battery storage to be brought in because sometimes the sun is not there, sometimes the wind is not flowing, which is very different from the conventional generation. So this is the overall portfolio which we have, and these are the newer things which we are trying to do in this space.
Right, right. As you were just mentioning about grid infra and also renewable energy. So I cover the renewable energy space at ET Energy, and it's been close to 6 years now. So in my interactions with other stakeholders, so there is this one very common point that always comes up, and that is the lag in capacity addition of renewable energy projects being directly related to the lag in grid infra. So, because it takes a lot of time. So, for example, if setting up a project takes 3 years, so the grid infra, setting up infra for the grid takes around 6 years, like just approximate ideas. So, what is your take on that? How can your company come in and facilitate this and increase the speed of capacity addition to reach the energy targets?
That's absolutely a very good question, Arushi. So, first of all, look, if we talk about our capacities, and particularly if I go more closer to India, we have significantly invested at certain point of time in our manufacturing capacities in India, and we have some plans to even expand them so that we can supply the equipment more on time. Then, when we are talking about the energy transition and at the same time when the generation happens, the entire model is moving into the bulk power transmission. So earlier, if it was 400 and 800 kV lines in AC system, which are capable of transmitting power of 1.5 gigawatt, we are talking about 6 gigawatt of HVDC links. So if that HVDC links, which can get built in a period of say 4 years, can transmit that kind of power. So if there are clusters of say 35 gigawatt, 40 gigawatt clusters of wind and solar generation, which is happening in Khavda or maybe say in Badla, which are
Mhm.
primarily the concentration zones of renewable generation, we
Yes.
can provide solution for superhighways, bulk power superhighways of transmission energy of 6 gigawatt. So while you can understand, right, say in a little bit more than the normal time, the infrastructure which gets created will be transmitting this kind of bulk power. So that way, in a way, we can try to reduce the lag between the generation in the transmission capacities. And I think, as I said, that we have plans to build up more capacities within the country. We are also strengthening our own team who can do faster execution of the project, who can do more local engineering. We are trying to be more local to support the energy transition. So these are some of the things which we are trying to do. I mean,
Right.
if I just want to kind of, reiterate what I said, is that first of all, the power which will be transmitted through HVDC links will be much bigger. So that helps in reducing the overall time. And then secondly, the local capacity enhancement with which we can do the projects much faster than it used to happen.
Right. Noted, noted. Moving on, tell us about your involvements in some of the major projects at GE Vernova, uh,
Okay.
regarding power infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Arushi, we have been one of the forerunner in the HVDC space, particularly in India. We built the CK, which is Champa Kurukshetra HVDC link, which is actually transmitting 6 gigawatt power. Most of the time, it runs on its maximum capacity. But prior to that, also we have built many HVDC links in India, right from Chandrapur, Bhadravati, and then Pusauli. These HVDC projects are maybe say coming up for refurbishment, and we will play a key role there. We have also been first in terms of setting up factories for 765 kV or 800 kV equipment in the country. So we have contributed significantly in building transmission infrastructure for the country. At the same time, we are front runners in terms of bringing newer technologies. So be it whether network management system or the entire SCADA management system for the country's power flow, or digitization, the digital platforms for protection and control, or for monitoring of the entire assets which are installed in the country. So we have those kind of solutions, and we had been forerunner in that. Now, with the transmission of renewable energy, there is a need, as I said, that flexible AC transmission systems are required. And this
Right.
is a little bit technical, where you have to do the reactive power compensation. And we have solution which can help in terms of providing these kind of solution or equipments and products. And we can do that very easily in terms of overall project or products.
Right. And what about your perspective on the future of grid infrastructure sector in the country? Let's say about 10 years from now, what is your outlook?
I'll just try to give you a very basic example from a layman's perspective point of view. Many people probably they think energy is an easy thing, because they just plug in their equipment into socket and it works. But the complexity which is happening in the transmission space is much bigger than what anybody can imagine. Earlier, there was a concentrated generation which was happening from maybe say a thermal power plant. So there was a constant flow of electricity from one point to the user point. But today, what we are doing is every individual who was a user has also become a producer. Because
Right.
suppose if you have installed the solar panel in your rooftop, then you are also a generator. So you just think of multiple generations which are happening. At the same time, you have also built concentration of solar or wind generation like Khavda, Bhadla, all these kind of concentrated generation. So the power flow has become multidirectional. And the predictability, as I said in my starting question, the predictability of usage of power has totally changed. Earlier, there used to be a fixed pattern that on the morning, when people will get ready, go to offices, there'll be peak, which will happen. Then during the day, offices will work, factories will work. In the night, the load will further come down when everyone is sleeping. But that pattern has totally changed. And you cannot predict that when a person is going to go home, put his EV on charging, somebody will be driving overnight and doing the charging during the day. So this entire thing has brought a lot of complexities into the predictability of power generation, usage. You think of a big solar plant, and if there's a cloud which passes through that solar plant, suddenly the generation will come down. So the grid can completely go, haywire in terms of handling those type of situation. So these are the complexities, and these are the things which are required to be handled. So to your question that what do I see 10 years down the line, the grid infrastructure, I see it more digitized, and it has to be more, the information need to be there uh, at the way, in a very faster way, in the hands of the operators who are actually trying to balance the entire grid. And there is more automation which will happen into this space. So people need, see, we are talking about a lot of AI today, for an example, right? There are large data centers which are coming up. This data center will handle actually the information which is required to control the grid infrastructure as well. So this is what I see, more complex, but digitized, and more automated transmission system.
Right, right. But this is on the technological side. What about the regulatory shifts that you can speak about?
Exactly. So on the regulatory side, I would say, because there are different grid codes which are there, and what kind of power can actually come into the transmission system are required to be pretty well managed. So that is the other part. And this is where I say that because the renewable generation has got its own complexities, and regulators need to really balance that part. See what happens. What are regulators for? I mean, the basic thing is that you need to control the tariff at which the electricity is being sold. So you cannot build something which is costing too much. So that's one part of regulatory stuff. And we are seeing over a period of time that more and more technology is pushing the tariff maybe towards a little bit on the upper side. So regulatory will come into picture, and replication of certain standard solution will play a key role. You cannot keep inventing all the time a new solution, which will ultimately cost more and more in terms of costing the electricity. So more reference solution, more standardization of the product, that is very, very key. And I think regulator will play a key role in terms of doing that. And this is where when I said that, for an example, HVDC links we are talking about. So it has to be, so there are two different technologies. One is LCC, which can transmit 6 gigawatt power. When we are talking about VSC, which is a smaller footprint HVDC transmission, we are pushing more and more standard solutions, so that not every time we are engineering a new solution, which can push the cost up and which can also take longer time to do. So that's another play. Regulators will play a key role in terms of that. Similarly, on the compensation side, on the usage side, on the network management side, regulators will play a key role to limit the way uh, too many newer things are brought in. I think
Right.
that will keep the ultimate aim of keeping the cost of electricity low, and to the users, it's not a burden.
Shailesh, why don't you tell us about the kind of investments that are being planned at GE Vernova in the space of power grid solutions or creating of power grid infra overall for our
Okay.
viewers?
Arushi, yeah, this is interesting. I think, see, we are, first of all, as I said, that GE Vernova is a very purpose-based company, and our endeavor is, and our motto is to promote the energy transition and help solution and product in the space of energy transition, which can enable the entire green energy concept for the globe. So we have various products which are high voltage equipment, grid automation products, and we have project solutions which are capable of solving the bulk power transmission need. So we are in the process of enhancing our capabilities. We have our technical expert centers. So HVDC, for an example, this technology as of now comes from our UK plants, which is a Stafford, where we manufacture equipment like valves, and we have factory for transformer there in UK. We also have supplying unit or manufacturing units in India, like in Vadodara, we have transformer manufacturing, and we have in southern part of the country the other heavy equipment manufacturing facility. We are also thinking to enhance those capabilities or capacities further, which can help. Uh, we are also trying to increase our capacity in our UK plant, where both transformers and valves are manufactured. And I think this is we have done some announcement in the past where we are trying to not only do double or triplicate the capacities in Stafford plants. So I think these will enable the faster execution of the projects. And within India also, we have plans to further enhance our capabilities or capacities.
Right,
This
right,
is
right.
on the hardware part, but at the same time, when I say the HVDC projects, they significantly require the manpower because there's a control and protection system. And for that, we have Excellence Center in India. We call it GEC, which is Engineering Control Center for the global requirement of projects. And we also have HVDC GEC, which is Engineering Center. There we are significantly planning to ramp up our number of people who will be not only supporting projects in India, but will also be supporting global projects.
Right, right, right. Sharish, lastly, as I'm also from the renewable energy side of the energy sector, so this is a very important question for me as well. So there is a lot of talks going about decarbonization of the grid sector. So tell us about that. What is the kind of role that clean energy, smart grids, and sustainability play in shaping the country's power infrastructure, and where and how does GE Vernova fit into all of this?
Right. Arushi, absolutely, you touched upon a very good point. And as I had been telling that GE Vernova is a purpose-based company, and our aim is to provide products and solutions which actually help the decarbonization. So on one hand, and since you talked about Vernova, let me go back again and tell you that we have power generation solutions which are today we are trying to do the gas turbines which are run on hydrogen. We have wind energy solutions, so both onshore and offshore wind plants. When we come into the grid space, so this is a little bit complex area where people can say that whether is it really, first of all, non supportive to the green planet concept, or is it really kind of polluting the planet, or how can this get converted into a green concept? So as I said, see, we talked about the HVDC, which is bulk power transmission, or we also talked about the reactive power compensation. But then on the product side, when you look at it, the GIS, the gas insulated switchgear, which significantly uses SF6 as a insulating medium within the within two phases of power. So that is getting replaced by a green gas. We call it GQ. It's a combination of multiple gases, and we are coming up. We have products and solution today ready which are green. And in fact, in the recent Telekrama, which happened in India, we demonstrated our equipment, which is with environment friendly gas, which is GQ gas. Because you know that SF6, when it is released into the environment, can cause a significant depletion of the ozone layer, and it can cause significant damage to the I mean, this is not a environmentally friendly gas. So this GQ gas is a significant development which has happened in this space for. So this is one example, and other examples, as I said, are similar, which are supporting the bulk power transmission of green energy.
Right, right. So, Shailesh, can you tell us how much time would it take, or how much capital intensive will it be to decarbonize the grid sector? Because India's grid sector is, we know, is very old and very it's spread across different regions and places. So, it is going to
Mm.
be a task. So, tell us about that. How do we achieve it?
Tough question, Rushi. I mean, in terms of telling that how long it will take and what kind of energy investments are required to be done in this space. First of all, I can tell you that the ambition in the country are very good, and at the speed with which we are adding the renewable generation, I think it's helping in a larger way. So we see it is happening. We are also seeing that India is ambitious to go for offshore wind energy, and I think in recent some of the articles I was reading that there are some auctions which are happening for offshore generation. So that's a very good step which has been taken in terms of revolutionizing the power generation. I understand that India is still willing to go for some of the coal generation, which will be a mix of both renewable as well as the conventional generation. There are plans for large solar installation in I think in the Himalayan ranges in Leh or somewhere. I heard that they are going to put a lot of solar generation. So uh, I think all the every country is putting their own timelines to go as fast as in terms of helping the decarbonization. If I understand right, India is planning to fully decarbonize by 2050, something like that. I'm not very sure about these timelines, but this is, I think, which is the plan, and I see that country is moving significantly positive in that direction.
Right, right. So, thank you so much, Shailesh, for taking out time from your busy schedule to interact with us and with our viewers. And I must say that it was a very informative and very insightful discussion. A lot of good points were mentioned, and you gave the answers in great detail. So, thank you so much, and it was a pleasure to have you on ET Energy.
Thank you, Rishi. It was a pleasure to me as well. Hope I could do justice to the questions which you were asking, and our viewers will get benefited with my answers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you all to our viewers. Keep watching this space for more. Thank you.